Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, is everybody as excited as I am that it is Friday? Because I am exhausted. It's been a long week. I've spent all week unpacking, getting ready for my puppies to come home today and make sure the house is safe for them and whatnot. And tell you what, I am ready for some rest. My friend Sarah texted and said, how about some extra self-care this weekend? And yes, I do think that will be on the agenda. So lots of salt baths, maybe some dog walks. I'm actually dog sitting, so I'll get a lot of dog walking in this weekend. So that'll be fun. I actually walked the dogs last night. Usually I'll bring like a water and then I'll have my headphones in, and I didn't last night. I just stayed quiet and present with the dogs, and it was very meditative. Very meditative. I know we talk sometimes, guys, about meditation, and people think it has to be a certain way. It doesn't, it doesn't. Oh, sorry. It's early, guys. It is early. Man, my alarm went off and I did not want to get up. But anyway, let's get some energies for today. Spirit, Source, God, Creator, Universe. Energies. Oh, I didn't turn my light on. Energies for today, please. Energies for today. Energies for today. The star. Oh, guys, we haven't had the star yet. We've talked about it. Look how pretty that card is. I don't think I've seen the star in this deck very much. It's a 17 card. So I don't know if that... See, we're still working on the lighting. Sorry. I think it's better if I go down back this way. It's when I come up close. And we get a little bit of a glare. Anyway, sorry. I'm trying to figure out the lighting. Okay, the star. She's calling in her manifestations, ultimately. I mean, she's... singing, and she's half in and half out of the water. She's following her North Star. She's found her true calling. And guys, I often talk about I get a song in the morning when I wake up. I didn't get a song this morning. I got a movie. It's not weird. I think that's weird. But the inner clarity, and finding her true calling and just being at peace. Look at the circle. It's like she finally found herself. Her tail finally found itself. And celebrating that, she found her true north. I think my mom had said that to my son when he went to college. She told him, tell her, find your true north. And he told me that, and I was like, no way, not my mom. My mom would never say stuff like that, but I guess when you're a grandparent, it's different. But it is that true calling, right? So this movie, Land Before Time, let me get back to that. I know I'm all over the place today, guys, sorry. So I watched this movie, before I had kids. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge Disney fan and cartoon fan and whatnot, but I watched The Land Before Time. I think I was 20. So yeah, we're talking like 30 years ago. And there was this character, it's all dinosaurs, right? And the brontosaurus, his parents died. And then there's this little, I don't know all the dinosaurs. My grandson would know, but he's not here. So there's this little cute one. I can't remember if it's what kind of dinosaur it is, but they call him Ducky. And there's this one part in the movie where he goes, I am all alone in the world. I am. And it was, oh my God, it was the most adorable, cutest thing ever. Anyway, the point of the movie is they're on this quest, right? They're on this mission to find more dinosaurs like them. Well, actually, Littlefoot his name was Littlefoot, on this mission to find other brontosaurus because he was the last of his kind in that area. So he gets together with these other, children dinosaurs, all different, Stegosaurus, Triceratops, the whole 9 yards. And they finally get to the Great Valley where they all found their tribes. And I thought, how beautiful a way to describe to children that you need to find your true north. Maybe you were not born into a family that is your kind, if you will. Maybe the eggs got switched in the dinosaur park or whatever, and you know, a Stegosaurus was born to a Brontosaurus, and you got to go find the other Stegosaurus. Anyway, I digress. Cute little story. Cute movie. If you guys go watch it, it's really, really cute. If you do, pay attention to when Ducky says, "I'm all alone in the world. I am," because I'll tell you what, that stayed with me for quite some time. Tell me about this star, please. Sorry. I know I'm goofy. What can I say, guys? You know, you love it. You love it. You love the stories I tell because they're just goofy. And who talks about the Philadelphia Eagles? That was weird yesterday, huh? So weird. Anyway, it's my ex-husband's football team, and I tend to root against them just for that reason, but maybe I'll start rooting for him now. I don't know. Crazy. Tell me about this star, please. Oh, so it's sideways, so we get to decide. Huh, usually I say you get to decide. I said we. Five of Pentacles is pretty much like that feeling left out, poverty, loss. You know, she's looking pretty grim in her pentacles there, but she's carrying them within her, around her neck, right? And she's brushing her hair. She doesn't look as disturbed. I love the waterfall behind her. You know, I don't think I've seen this card in this deck either. But it's yearning for something that you don't have. And what she doesn't realize is she's carrying it with her, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4 pentacles. Oh, I'm sorry. It is the 4 pentacles. Huh? This whole time I'm reading it as the 5. I'll be okay, guys. I'm glad I counted. I don't normally count them in the card. Weird. Okay. Anyway, 4 pentacles. Desiring to have more. Desiring that long-term security. Like, look at her. She's like brushing her hair. And if you think about it, you know, sometimes when you're getting ready in the morning, you're kind of dreaming about the day. You're imagining, you know, kind of visualizing what's going to happen throughout the day. This looks like the big dream, right? She wants to have it all. She's all about manifesting and understanding that she doesn't like what she has now and she wants more, which is good, but that energy can be dangerous, because when you always want more, the universe will give you reasons to always want more, right? And so when you're in this state and thinking about what those things that you want, you have to try to then get to the energy of having already gotten it. I think we talked a couple days ago about when you lose something and then you go to replace it, you go to the store to replace it, you get home and you find it, right? Same idea. Same idea with money, guys. It's not that hard, actually. And as I say that, you know, sitting here with a $600 engine issue that I'm having a hard time coming up with, but I digress. Anyway, yeah, just being in the energy of having already gotten it will bring the thing to you. So when the 4 of Pentacles is in the reverse, this is bankruptcy, vulnerable, poverty mindset. So you go from wanting the financial abundance or whatever, you know, time, resources or time, energy, money, whatever. You go from wanting all of that and desiring all of that, or losing it all. So this is not the energy of having, right? This is always either a wish for more or a sadness for less, right? This is past or future, if you think about it that way. It is not being present, not being here now. Like I always say, guys, not being grateful for what you have now. It's, you know, oh my gosh, I used to have this, or oh my gosh, I want to have this. That's not a great energy. And I think by the virtue of the fact that it's sideways, we can choose to be neither. You know, we can choose either or, but neither is a choice too, right? We're not going to choose upright or reversed. We're just going to choose to see it for the message, for the warning that it is. Being in the I'm just going to be grateful for what I have now and let the universe decide what's best, right? Let the universe give me everything that I asked for 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 2 days ago, 2 minutes ago, when I've aligned my energy to it. My friend Joni is sending me a lot of Abraham Hicks videos, and there was an amazing one she sent me yesterday about manifesting money. And really, it's very easy, supposedly, to manifest money when you are already grateful for everything you have. The lady on the video asked, she said, I'm very happy with not having enough money. And Esther Hicks, or Abraham Hicks, says to her, if you were, there would be more money. So you're not as happy as you think you are. You might be content, you might be comfortable, but are you happy? Ask yourself that, guys. Five of Swords. Hurting yourself. I actually like the one in this deck because it shows children playing with things that they should not play with, and they hurt themselves. And look at the penguin. He's like, oh, consoling him, right? And the other mer children are looking at him like, how did you do that? Like, none of them put their swords down. How crazy is that? None of them. Not one of them put their swords down after this mer child cut himself. But ultimately, that's what it is. I mean, it's self-sabotage. It's abusive. It's abusive. But who's abusing, right? He abused himself. He's got the sword in his hand, and he's the one bleeding. These guys didn't do anything. They have swords. He could turn around and blame them. You know, he could, if mom came along, he could drop that sword down into the water, turn around and blame all 4 of those mer children. Right? But there's someone that knows. There's someone that knows. Is that your conscience? Is that your higher self? Consoling yourself for the things, you know, as we start to figure out, guys, the things that we've done to create our own reality, and we start to realize that we have a lot more accountability than we thought, it's easy to get caught up in a guilt and a shame and a sadness for what it was that you were responsible for. What did I hear this morning? I think it was this morning. No, it was yesterday. They said, rather than blame or take responsibility or any of those big kind of scary concepts, they said, take credit for it. Take credit for it. And that just sounded so much nicer. Like so much, not as scary, I guess, as take accountability or take responsibility. Just take credit for it. Just take credit and move on. Because credit doesn't imply blame. It doesn't imply a worthiness, right? Credit is just take credit. Take credit where the credit's due. So make sure you're doing that, you know. Understand that a lot of times the abuse is you abusing yourself. You not appreciating yourself. You not loving yourself. A few cards here. Want me to take them all? We might. Yeah, we'll take them. Hierophant in the reverse. So that is authority figures, right? She's the ultimate authority in the tarot. So this would be like a father, not like the Emperor Father, but like Father God, right? The Pope, the Jiminy Cricket, if you will, of your world, right? Who's like Jiminy Cricket? That could be Jiminy Cricket. Who's the authority figure in your life? Who is the societal authority figure in your life? Okay. I live in New Mexico, and you know, there's certain culture, phenomenon, social norms, whatever you want to call them, that we all abide by, right? In the Northeast, it's a certain way. In the Southwest, it's a certain way. I find I fit in better in the Southwest. People are a lot more attuned, or I'm a lot more attuned to the way people are, and what the societal norms are here make more sense to me than they did in the East Coast. But, yeah, that was a weird tangent. I don't know. Hang on, guys. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm so tired. I've not gotten enough sleep this week. So with this being authority this way, this is having problems with authority, right? So maybe a teacher, maybe a boss, maybe a parent, but it's having some sort of problem, right? And with the Five of Swords, did you create the problem? And then the Queen of Swords, right? So you got the two upright swords with the major arcana in reverse. So your thoughts and your words preventing you from this lesson, preventing you from moving on to the number 6. This is the number 5 card, which is the Taurus card. But and we had 5 and 6 yesterday too, I believe. And today we got 4 and 5. And one sideways, one up, one in the reverse. So are you backpedaling? Are you backsliding here somewhere? And we got the 5 and the 5. So 55. Synchronicity. Interesting. But anyway, back to this. So a problem with authority. You may have created it, right? It's very possible that you created it. And then the Queen of Swords, she's self-sufficient though, right? She's logic. Total honesty, and she rules herself. This is you figuring it out. This is you figuring out that you created this. The problem you have with the authority figure, guys, is not the authority figure. The problem you have. Either you don't agree with whatever it is that they're, you know, we just talked about the social norms and whatnot. Maybe you don't agree. Or I did a school report the other day. I know it sounded funny. But on Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. So I had to research the history of how this organization started. And started in California, and a little girl was walking down the street and got hit by a drunk driver. Mother found out that the drunk driver had been arrested for drunk driving many, many times before. She lobbied the governor, who then decided that they would institute a $375 mandatory fine and jail time for multiple offenses. Well, she had a problem with authority. She brought about change. These things don't have to be as negative. You know, there's usually a pain that is involved. There's some sort of tragedy that happens for this kind of organization to come about, right? And I did learn that too, because we had to do several. It's always a tragedy. It's always somebody losing something or someone that creates this change, this social change. And if you think about that from a higher perspective, you yourself wouldn't change if something hadn't been taken away or something hadn't been fair, if you will. There hadn't been some sort of loss or some sort of feeling of injustice. Why would you change? What would be the reason? You wouldn't need to. You'd be comfortable. You know, we talk about getting comfortable with being uncomfortable. Because change is constant. You know, change is the only constant thing that you can count on. So, I'm going to get off my soapbox with that and get you guys an oracle card. Can I get some advice for today? Advice for today, please. Advice for today. Advice for today. Oh, fell on the floor. And I do believe it says communication, but let me pick this up and see. It is communication. So, communication. Talk about these things, guys. Look at, she's talking to a turtle. Somebody completely outside of her species. When we come across people that don't make sense to us, or they're doing things that don't make sense to us, or like Littlefoot and Ducky in the movie, they're not the same kind of dinosaur. They're not supposed to talk, right? I think their parents had taught them that each one was going to try to kill the other. And so they were a little afraid of each other at first. But after they talked and realized that they meant no harm, they were able to communicate. But it took the communication to get there. So, and think about it. Commune is part of communication. It's the first part of communication. There is no community without communication. The root of the word is the same. You have to be able to communicate and tell people, tell this authority figure, tell yourself, talk to yourself, talk to them, but talk. I mean, Queen of Swords, talk with the authority of the Queen, right? Swords is words. It is thoughts. It is communication, ultimately. Your resources set aside, literally set aside. And it's your thoughts and words. And who's the authority? Maybe you're the authority. But find your calling. Find your purpose. Find your truth. Find your true north. And this authority figure, maybe it turns out they weren't so much of an authority on what it was you were meant to do. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. We'll talk in a minute. Love you so, so much. Much love and light. Hey, guys. How's it going? Interesting reading, huh? Let's see. A lot of walking. There was a lot of walking in the beginning. Walking with dogs and walking in general. And from there, I talked about not having headphones on, right? Normally I have headphones on when I walk the dogs, and I didn't. And even after that, I said, I didn't get a song in my head. I got a movie. So, and then I even, in the star card, you know, hearing the call. Maybe you don't hear it. Maybe you see it. Yeah. Maybe there's times that it's just too loud. We talked yesterday about things being too loud and not being able to hear the river, remember? So maybe it's things you have to see. So pay attention with all 5 senses, you know, when you're talking about your call, if you will. I talked about the movie, oh my gosh, The Land Before Time. And yeah, sorry, I was just reading my notes. So talked about the movie The Land Before Time and Ducky, and Ducky being the character that I remembered what he said, right? I looked up Duck in my Spirit Animals book, and it's just have fun, and don't deny yourself those emotional things that you need. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. In the star card, I talked about her tail finding itself, you know, and you go back to the song in the movie, having a movie instead of a song, and her tail, T-A-I-L, could have represented your tail, T-A-L-E, right? So a tale as old as time. Think about that for a minute. See what that resonates, see how that works for you. But find your tale, right? Find your story. Write your story. I talked a lot about ancestors today, our family members. So I talked about my mom and my son and my grandson, and then I think at one point, even I talked about a dad, I mentioned. Yeah, mom, dad, son, grandson. Didn't mention sister or daughter today, so maybe it's the male role models in your life. And the mother, the ultimate mother and father, right? So who's the ultimate mother and father? It's Father God, Mother, Father, God. But there's some sort of family dynamic going on today. Even in the movie, I talked about the parents told Littlefoot that he had to find his own kind, right? That the other dinosaurs would kill him. He had to find his true north. The parents are the ones that told. You know, it was my mother that told my son that. It was Littlefoot's parents that told him that. So it's those authority figures in your life that are going to, well, the right ones are going to tell you to be who you truly are, right? The ones that matter, the ones that truly love you, are going to give you that safe place with which to be yourself. So think about that. Talked a lot about True North, and I used the word quest instead of mission when I was talking about the movie. So what's a quest, and how does that differ from a mission, or does it? Ask yourself that. Then the name Littlefoot in the movie, and we know that feet means understanding, and it's little. And children, you know, understand like a child. Come at these things with the mindset of a child, where you have no preconceived ideas. Come at it with fresh, innocent perspective and understand what's happening. I want to talk for a minute about soul contracts. I don't know if we've talked too much about this. Soul agreements, whatever you want to call them. Limiting beliefs, attachments to beliefs that are not yours. These are all the same thing. Soul contracts, soul agreements, attachments, they're all the same thing. I mentioned in the movie that, or in the movie, that was funny. Freudian slip, never a mistake, guys. My voice has been fine all day. Very weird. So in the movie, The Land Before Time, I talked about Ducky saying, I'm all alone in the world, I am, and how it stayed with me because it was so adorable, it was so cute. I am so sorry, guys. Think about those things that you heard when you were little, be it from a movie or a parent or a teacher or an authority figure or somebody who just resonated with you a lot. And ask yourself, did you make an agreement there? I had to literally, it hit me like a ton of bricks. Did I make an agreement at that moment, at the age of 20, that I would be all alone in the world? Interesting. Now that I know that, I can break the agreement. I can say, no, no, I don't claim that anymore. I'm going to find my true north. I'm going to find my tribe. I actually had done this work with a friend yesterday, and she had made the comment that her father told her, because he was a better dad to the younger children than he was to her. And he literally acknowledged that and validated that for her. But at the same time, he told her, well, you were my test run. Well, she's perpetuated being a test run for people her whole life. It's these little tiny things. Think back, guys. Think to those things that you've made agreements with. What are those things that you remember from childhood that you've held on to that maybe aren't even yours? Ask yourself that. That was huge for me today. And then I'm going to talk about rooting against the Eagles just because it was my ex's team. What did the Eagles ever do to me? Nothing. It's just that the Eagles represent a memory of a person that I didn't want to remember. So are you doing that in other areas of your life? Are you holding things or teams, if you will, accountable because a certain person, they remind you of a certain person. They remind you of a painful memory. Separate those, detach from those, because the Philadelphia Eagles did nothing to me. Anyway, just because it's my ex's team, right? But that was a contract that was broken. So I switched the contract to hating the Eagles. Very weird. The Five of Pentacles was actually the Four of Pentacles. I read it as the five for quite a long time, and I don't think that was by mistake. So what is the Five of Pentacles? Think about what that means to you. Fives are change, and the Pentacles, it's that feeling of being left out. So are you misreading a situation, thinking you're being left out, and you're not? Ask yourself that. I had to count the Pentacles for clarity. Count your blessings, guys. Be clear on what it is you're grateful for. Be clear on what it is you're manifesting. And count. Count on it. Count on manifesting. That just came to me. And then I said dream, imagine, and visualize. That's literally how you manifest, guys. You dream it. It's a dream in your head. Then you imagine it, like, oh, this would be nice, right? But then you visualize it. Dream, manifest, visualize. Dream, imagine, visualize equals manifestation. I talked about the state that you're in. Think about the state. We talked about this before with water. It's liquid, it's a solid, it's a gas. It's the only element that is all three. You can be in whatever state you want to be in, depending on the temperature outside, right? Much like water. What's the temperature? Check the temperature of the water. Of the water? For the water. I don't know. And then I said, once you've gotten it, I don't know what I was going to say about that. We're going to skip it. Talked about replacing things, and then you find things. So how does replacing equate to finding? Once you've replaced the soul contract, you find yourself. I wrote down wanting and losing, but I don't know what that means, so we're not going to go over that. Not being present, be here now. Be the gift. Understand the gift. The present is a gift. I know it's a goofy cliche that people say all the time, the past is forgotten, the future hasn't happened, the present is now because it's a gift or it's a present, whatever. The goofy cliche part of it. But it's true. be grateful for what you have now. And I know I took a lot of notes today, guys. Neither is a choice too. You know, we turn the card sideways. There's yes, there's no, and there's no decision at all. There's actually 3 choices. Just like in a truth, right? They say there's his side, her side, and the truth. There's always 3. So there's not only just 2. It's not only yes or no. It's not only right or wrong. It's not only good or bad. There's a void of a decision that is also a decision. Talked about accountability, bringing on guilt and shame, and to use the word credit. Credit, by default, gives the impression or the state of mind that you have been trusted to pay back, right? Like, think about a credit card. Or you gave credit where credit's due. You gave the kudos where it was due. That's the same thing as accountability, but it sounds better. It sounds nicer. It's the positive side of that thing. So use that word. Use the credit word instead of the accountability word. I said the Emperor when I was talking about the Hierophant. That's not by mistake either. The Emperor being that father figure, right, ultimately. So who do you look at as that figure for you? You know, we all have dads. We all look at our dads that way, but when dads fall short, who steps in to replace that person? You know, I have a few people in my life that, not that they've replaced my dad, but they have given me that father energy with which to grow in the safe place and whatnot. Oddly enough, the person that does that for me has the same first name as my dad. So there's that. And then we talked about culture and social norms, you know, what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and leading to the MAD organization, the Mothers Against Drunk Drivers organization. Things that aren't acceptable, change them. Change them. I said the word attuned today. And attuned just basically means you're tapped into the energy. You're tuned like a tuning fork, right? You've attuned to the energy around you. And I mentioned Taurus, which is not normal for me. I don't usually mention astrology in my readings, but if you're a Taurus, you know a Taurus. Maybe that's something that means something to you. I happen to be a Taurus. And then tragedy, beginning big change. Big social change comes from a huge tragedy. I mean, if you want big change, there's a big loss, a big tragedy, a big catalyst, if you will, for the big change. Little catalyst gets little change. You know, it's equal and opposite. I think it's, what is it? To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. I believe that's Newton's law of physics. Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't remember physics. That was 30 years ago. Anyway, then I talked about soapbox. I'm gonna get off my soapbox. You have to get on your soapbox for something like Mothers Against Drunk Drivers to come about, right? This is soapbox. Get on the soapbox. Think about what soap is. It cleans, right? It cleans. Box is the 4 walls that you've been put inside, the box that you were put inside. Break out of that. Clean the box. Make it your box. The communication card fell on the floor, which again, understanding that talking is where it's at. In the movie, Ducky and Littlefoot couldn't be friends at first because they were told by their parents, by that authority figure, that it was dangerous, that they were gonna, you know, and the parents were trying to protect them. They weren't trying to be mean. They weren't trying to say, oh, you know, he's no good, don't pay attention to him. They're like, he's gonna eat you. I'm protecting you. They think they're doing their best to protect you. And in the end, they had no idea. They had no idea. And these people, these dinosaurs would help each other get to the Great Valley. It took communication to build a community. Think about that. And then I talked about, the last thing was community, and communication. The root of the word was all the same. Now, I don't know if it's the Latin root or whatever, but I'm just talking about the first few letters, right? They're all the same, but the root. Get to the root of who you are. Get to the root of the problem with communication. Root chakra. I have the root chakra poster up, and I will read it for you. I am connected with the energy of Mother Earth. My body, mind, and spirit are, I can't read that word, are grounded, centered, and purified. So grounded, centered, and purified, guys. get grounded. What does that mean? What does it mean to get grounded? It means to be where you're at. You know, we get into our spirituality and we forget about the 3D world. We forget about bills. We forget about everyday life. That's grounded. Come back to reality. Come back to present. Come back to now. Get grounded. All right, I'm gonna leave it there. I am running super late. I gotta be at my dog sitting job in 7 minutes, and it takes 12 minutes to get there. So, I'll call it a win. 5 minutes, right? Love you guys so much. Have a good day. Much love and light.